I just thought I'd say something because a few people asked me about, they've seen us here in Rinpoche's presence, but they just wanted to know our record or history. I'm not going to bore you along, just to let you know. Yes. No, I think you all know us as Chanteloube. That's probably what you saw on the most prehistoric, archaic website that you have ever seen. Archaic.
Archaïque.
And it is made to confuse you rather than inform you.
Okay.
Some of my kind friends typed into that, and it really looks like one of those prehistoric caves where we are. Like where actually Shantloop is based. It is based in it was meant to be the cradle of humanity until our scientists discovered the cradle elsewhere. And who knows where else it'll be. So anyway, the word Chanteloube literally means wolf's cry. And the place where where it is actually situated, the retreat place, I heard from my brother Guru Rinpoche that Kyabje Rinpoche said that it was actually one of the places of Vajrakilaya, of his treasure Vajrakilaya, the treasure of Kyabje Rinpoche. I think it was Buddha-Rikpum, but I'll have to find out from Guru Rinpoche. Thanks to multiple COVIDs, my memory is not as it should be. But still I have my, it's still functioning. But I think all of you also have some memory lapses. So nothing drastic. So this place, Shantloop, started with my father, Khandro Rinpoche. Although he didn't come here, but that's how it started. Anyway, I think many of you possibly know this documentary called The Lake of the Yogis. It was a French documentary maker called Arnaud Desjardins came to India just, I think, late 50s, early 60s, and he made a documentary in which you can see Kyabje Rinpoche, Jigme Khyentse Rinpoche. You can also see the 16th Karmapa, His Holiness Sajjata Rinpoche, and many other teachers. And I think after he made that, he came to France, showed it, and even wrote a book about it. And I think many audience from the West met many of our teachers through that. And so many of our friends who became Khandro Rinpoche student and later on Kyabje Rinpoche and Kyabje Khyentse Rinpoche student, they saw that documentary. And amongst them, one of the most famous French monk, Matthew. And then those of you who have seen some photos of the Khyentse Rinpoche, you can see one photo of Rinpoche almost holding closely an elderly French monk, Gérard Godet. Yes, where Rinpoche is wearing a blue wig. And so these people met Khandro Rinpoche. They saw this documentary and read the book, and then they came to Darjeeling. I think they were very, very adventurous. Matthew was a scientist. Gérard Godet was a very square businessman, and also very polite and very elegant, very kind. So they met, and then after that, the grandfather of this lady translator, Clara, he also came, who's called Clara. His name was called Bernard Benson. And I remember so well, he had curly hair like yours, and like you, he had a big beard, like you.
Unlike you, sorry.
And he used to cry and jiggle a lot. He was just like a little child when he came to see Khandro Rinpoche, and he would be with his eyes squinting and cried a lot. He was so excited. I don't want to use this example. I don't want to say this, but the best thing that could actually say it would be like a little puppy who's so excited to see their friend that he was uncontainable. So then through them, many Westerners, also very uptight ones and extremely unuptight and what do you call it? Hippies came there on their way to experience India's what do you call it? Hippie drug scene. So there was a vast array of people from the US, from England, and from France, even Brazil, New Zealand, from everywhere. Many of them came shopping for experiences, and then they somehow strayed into meeting Khandro Rinpoche. Spiritual shopping. Some of them came directly to see Khandro Rinpoche. Just after seeing the book, they could not hold back. After seeing the book and the documentary, they decided to come. And then many of them wanted to receive teaching from him. And unfortunately for them, it happened that there was a war between the two Pakistans, and then India got involved. And during that time, people were not allowed to stay there at all. And then many of them would come in secret at night and hide and come and see Khandro Rinpoche at night. In the daytime, they would hide. Some of them even told me they would hide under the beds of their hosts when the police came to check for them, so they would hide there. So they had such hardship. Some of them knew certain people, and they accumulated a lot of merit, making offerings to certain certain protectors of Darjeeling. One of them was called the young spy, Mr. Chatterjee. That's his name. So many of my friends would make offerings to him. Once in a while, whenever he needed, he would come and put a note saying, I want this whiskey, this pen, or this much, and then they could stay. Pas crayon, pen, stylo, pas n'importe quel stylo. Il fallait que ce soit Parker. It wasn't any pen. He would say, I want this Parker pen. And then they could stay maybe a few weeks more. Like, in the old times, the translators went to India, they made offerings to the customs officer, immigration officer. These people also made those offerings. So after a while, it was not tenable. So they asked Khandro Rinpoche, please come to the West. And he said something like, okay, I will come, but actually I will look from here. I will I'll look from here. So at that time, one of the people who asked him was this jiggly hair with your grandfather. Yeah. And he even showed a photo of Shantloube. That is where the retreat place is, where the stuper is. He said, yes, that is my place. Good. So then Khandro Rinpoche passed away not long afterwards. Before he passed away, he had already requested Gyabje Rinpoche and Jigme Khyentse Rinpoche to be kind enough to guide us on the path and to be our teachers. And they kindly accepted to look after all of us, as Rinpoche said that his students, well, when Rinpoche says his students, please don't think it is somebody else. We all received empowerment and teachings from him, so we are all Rinpoche students. So basically, we're all, what did Rinpoche say? Mentally unstable. I should add, we were not only mentally unstable, but we were all extremely volatile and emotional. And that is why I feel so grateful that Kyabje Khyentse Rinpoche and Kyabje Dudjom Rinpoche so kindly accepted us under their care. Donc, ne pensez pas les disciples de Rinpoche qui sont autres que nous, ça c'est une erreur. And my father's teacher was called Jigme Rinpoche Rinpoche, who was also one of the teachers of Kyabje Dudjom Rinpoche. And this Jigme Rinpoche was a direct student of Jigme Khyentse Rinpoche and Khandro Sangdü Drupchen. There are stories about that too, but that we don't have time. So then, after my father passed away, Guru Rinpoche requested Kyabje Khyentse Rinpoche and Kyabje Dudjom Rinpoche to come to France and bring the Buddha Dharma here. And that is why we have such fortune in Dordogne, in Shantloop, to have had two of the greatest teachers, not just of the last century, but ever, because they were both none other than Guru Rinpoche and none other than Vimalamitra. Just like when Buddha Dharma came to Tibet, there was great teachers like Guru Rinpoche, like Vimalamitra. We have had that fortune in France. Est venu au Tibet, ces deux maîtres-là étaient invités et they were instrumental to bring the Buddha Dharma to Tibet, these two great teachers. Guru Rinpoche, Vimalamitra, they were instrumental to bringing Buddha Dharma to Tibet. And both Kyabje Khyentse Rinpoche and Kyabje Dudjom Rinpoche were many of these teachers in one. If you read Kyabje Rinpoche's prayer of his biography, you will see that he is none other than Guru Rinpoche, none other than Yeshe Tsogyal, and none other than Kechung Lodza. And then Kyabje Khyentse Rinpoche, of course, no different from Guru Rinpoche. He is no different from the Vimalamitra and also King Tuzung Dezen. King Tuzung Kyabje Khyentse Rinpoche. Okay, so then I would like to tell all of you that even though we have so many precious places to go to pilgrimage, these two teachers, having been to Dordogne, gave teachings, and Kyabje Dudjom Rinpoche even left his physical manifestation there. It's really no different from any of these precious places that we can see elsewhere. So all of us, you French people, not just me, all of you French people, following the Buddha's teachings, especially Guru Rinpoche's, following Guru Rinpoche's lineage, you should feel actually proud of this. This is something more important to feel proud about than anything else, particularly, baguette and the hundreds of cheeses that you have. This is much more precious from the point of view of being Guru Rinpoche's lineage follower. This is so much more important. So you should feel proud of it. Not just French. France happens to be stuck to other countries. So this continent is so precious for us. So please remember and feel proud. This is worth being proud about. And as Khandro Rinpoche, on the first day of the Drupchen, when he was speaking, he did say, this place not far from the place of Dordogne, blessed by Kyabje Rinpoche and Kyabje Khyentse Rinpoche. And Kyabje Khyentse Rinpoche.
Et Kyabje Khyentse Rinpoche sont venus.
And so, this place, Shantloube, this is how it started. In fact, the place of Shantloube was given by your grandfather to your mother, wasn't it? And then that's how now this we have the retreat place where the stuper is. People go to the stuper there, and of course it's very blessed. And just next to it there's a sort of an old barn, a dilapidated barn, which, thanks to the French regulations, is very difficult to touch very much. But that is where these great teachers spent some time giving teachings to a handful of people. So that is how Chanteloube began. When I meet people, they say, how did you come here? Why did you come here? I said, your people brought us here.
Ici.
Not that person, but
Oui.
les Français. And then, of course, there was others. So then we first have this fortune of having these places. So when you go to the stupa, don't just go to the stupa. Look to the right, this sort of old house. At least, if you're what do you call it, embarrassed to bow down to a house, at least from the inside, really bow down, because that is where these great masters taught. That they have been there, the place is blessed. Their blessings are no different from them. Therefore, it's like being in their presence. And then, if you look on the other side, there's again a small place which is at the moment closed. That is where the 3 years retreat started since the early 80s. And those people are so fortunate because they had as retreat masters Kyabje Rinpoche, Kyabje Khyentse Rinpoche, and eventually Monchique Rinpoche. I think they know how fortunate they were. At that time, I don't know. Maybe they thought this is normal. Imagine if you were a Christian, the Christ himself giving you teaching every day. These two great masters were there. I think Kyabje Rinpoche used to visit weekly or every 2 weeks and then pour their blessings. Kyabje Khyentse Rinpoche used to visit every year and spend almost a month giving teachings and empowerments. When we counted, Kyabje Khyentse Rinpoche had been about 17 or 18 times over that many years. So for us, there is really no difference between Sarnath and Dordogne. Where the Buddha taught, here true Buddhas taught. And not only that, him passing away there, it's really no different from Kusinagar. So, and then both of them being enlightened and manifesting their enlightened qualities every day, I think there's really no difference from Bodh Gaya. Now, please don't make me accumulate bad merit by making you become lazy and frugal, thinking, oh, it's easier to go here, it's cheaper to go there, that's why I'm going to go to Dordogne. Please, if you wish to go to Bodh Gaya, you absolutely should. Even if you don't want to, you should go. Ne ne décidez pas de venir à Shantloube parce que c'est moins cher et moins fatigant. So, I really wanted to tell you this because what we're doing here, this is the kind activity of these teachers. And now, when my father passed away, Kyabje Khyentse Rinpoche came for the funeral rites. I think he stayed almost 49 days. And with Kyabje Khyentse Rinpoche came Khyentse Rinpoche came. At that time, Khyentse Rinpoche was there too. Khyentse Rinpoche Yoruba didn't Dordogne. Did Dordogne Yoruba? Khyentse Rinpoche Dongchö was Yoruba Khyentse Rinpoche. Oh, that is where I first met Khyentse Rinpoche and Khyentse Rinpoche. So I also heard that when in Darjeeling, Khyentse Rinpoche was receiving empowerment from Dudjom Rinpoche, I heard on some occasion Khyentse Rinpoche was very young, so he would also sit on Khyentse Rinpoche's lap. This is hearsay. Rinpoche himself didn't tell me, so please take it with a grain of salt. But I would like to think like that anyway. And also later on, Kyabje Khyentse Rinpoche, I heard mentioned to Khyentse Rinpoche to advise us and to look after us, and I think that is really so precious. I have no doubt that we are all under Rinpoche's care. And these days, and then we tried to build a structure in Dordogne, but because it is a prehistoric place, even repairing, even the slant of the roof is so restricted. We tried for a long time. We could not get a place to build on the precise spot. They told us you can build it elsewhere, bit to the right, bit to the left. Then we didn't manage so far. We wanted to build a place where Kyabje Khyentse Rinpoche had come for 17 times and gave so many teachings. And so far we haven't managed. And then my mother, a year or two before she passed away, she suddenly, one day she was a little bit unwell, and I asked her, what can I do to make you feel better? Elle était malade, et je lui ai demandé, qu'est-ce que je peux faire? And at that time she said, I want to go to Nepal, to Marathika. But unfortunately, there was this civil war in Nepal. So we tried, but we couldn't. We didn't manage. So when I told her about it, she said, okay, then that's it. Then she said, I want to go to Portugal. I'll feel better. So then we packed and went to Portugal. And we went to a few different places. She just wanted to stay, and she didn't like them. And then one day she said to us to go look for a place she wants to stay. So we went, every day we went, and we told her about it. She said, it's not that, it's not that. We would show her photos, she said, it's not that.
On lui montrait des photos, elle disait non, c'est pas ça.
And then, after some months, we found one place. It felt just like Darjeeling, where we grew up. And so we went there and we told her we found a place. She said, I want to go and look. So she came, she liked it, she said, okay, this is it, I'm not going. My brother Guru Rinpoche had to convince her that we will definitely ask the owners if we can rent it first, and we'll see if they want to sell it. Then reluctantly she accepted to go to the other place so that we can arrange this place, to rent this place first and then talk about buying it. So then eventually they talked with the owners had died, there's a long story, and then we finally managed to rent it. And then once we had rented it, got the papers ready, still we had to wait, and she would keep asking us, is it ready, is it ready, is it ready? Portugal is part of Europe, but it is really part like India. People are so sweet. Bureaucracy takes the time it takes. And so one day she said, oh no, that story I won't tell. So anyway, we got that place. She could rent it. And then we were wanting to buy it. And Guru Rinpoche got some help and then wanted to buy it. He raised some funds so that we could buy it.
Yeah.
And then, just before signing the contract, because Guru Rinpoche felt that we should, there wasn't enough to pay for the whole amount they wanted. So then, just about a few days before signing the contract, our place was burnt by fire.
Il y a eu un incendie.
After that forest fire, when we looked back, it felt like the face of the moon, because everything was ashes. Then the lawyer who was going to sell the place came and looked. We introduced him to my mother. And when he came in, he was first quite shocked, because first the place was unrecognizable. And then the owners left a dog that really helped us in the negotiating. The lawyer, when he saw that dog, every time he used to come there, he used to be afraid of the dog, because the dog would try to attack him. In the past, with the previous owners, he was trying to attack. But this time, when he came, he saw the dog came sniffing with a tail wagging, so he was completely transported. So
Il n'en revenait pas.
First he was shocked at looking at the surface of the moon, and then the dog seduced him. Before the surface of the moon, I think it looked very much like what we think of the Garden of Eden. It was so beautiful. So then, when they negotiated, saying, now look at this place, we're not very interested, he agreed, saying, we do need to put the price down. He said, I will do everything to talk with the people and reduce. So we just managed to get it for the price that we could. So the fire, the dog, and my mother, all three of them, managed to get us this place. And she didn't live very long after that. So then, as we can't build what we want here, we decided maybe we should try it there. So once we got it, then we had the fortune of having Kyabje Rinpoche there, who came there to bless it. He's really, again, Kyabje Rinpoche used to say that if you want, that for him, Kyabje Rinpoche was none other than the great translator, Vairocana. So my mother passed away in Portugal, and we also did her cremation in that place. And then, Portugal being Portugal, it took us 7 or 8, I don't even know, maybe more than that. How long was it to get the permission? How long did it take? 10 years. Anyway,
6 or 7 years.
6 or 7 years. But I think to be safe, I could say 10 years. And then after we got it, and then recently I think we got the permission to start something now. And there, I hope one day, when and if it is finished, it's a big when and big if it finishes, I hope we will be able to do Drupchens there. And I have already requested Rinpoche to come to, Khyentse Rinpoche to come to Portugal.
Et donc,
And he kindly did not refuse. He didn't say, don't even think of it.
il n'a
So I take it as a possibility, and a real good possibility.
Yeah.
So if anybody of you want to know, there's 2 small posters in the corner there. That's what it is hopefully going to look like. And well, it's going to start slowly. I hope one day it finishes. That depends on our merit,
this
and many of our friends have very kindly pledged support for it to be able to build it.
pour le temple.
And so that's who we are.
Et
Now you know. Okay, that's it. Thank you very much for listening.
voilà, merci.